In this recording, I will be showing you how to get started in RStudio. Let's start from the Moodle page. On the Moodle page for this course, there will be a link that says Technology for Bio 131. Go ahead and click on that. Then scroll down and look for the section on R and RStudio. Depending on when you see this video, it may be changed by then, but there should be a section on R and RStudio in there. I most recommend that you download and install the desktop versions of R and RStudio. And please remember that there are two programs that you need. You need the R program as well as the RStudio program, and you need to download R first. There's some useful instructions here at the Modern Dive textbook. It does describe how to download. First, you need to download R and then RStudio. You can just follow those instructions. There are some cases where you may not be able to install R and RStudio on your computer. Like if you have a Chromebook, there isn't a version for Chromebooks, unfortunately. Or maybe you just don't have enough memory on your computer or something like that. In that case, you can use the Smith RStudio server, which is a browser-based online version. So you're just going to run it through a browser tab. So let's go ahead and I'm going to demonstrate using that. I'm not going to actually download and install R in RStudio because, well, first of all, I already have it on my computer. I don't need to reinstall it. And secondly, most of you have a Mac and I don't have a Mac. So I can't demonstrate that anyway. But I will demonstrate how to use the Smith RStudio server, and almost everything I demonstrate there is exactly the same in the desktop version. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the link to the Smith RStudio server. And this will take you into a login page. If you have registered for this class, then I have given your email to the Computer and Technology Services Group, or CATS, in the Science Center. That's the IT folks for the Science Center. So if you have registered for the course, then I've given your email to them. You should be all set. But if you have any problems logging in or with your account in general, you can send an email to cats-s@smith.edu for help from them. They're the ones that maintain the Smith server. So that's where you can get help with the Smith server. To log in, you're just going to use your normal Smith username and password. You don't need the @smith.edu after your username. So just for me, it's MC Pratt, and then your regular password. You don't need to stay signed in when the browser closes. It's actually better to sign out. So I'm going to go ahead and sign in. And when you open it up, especially if this is the first time you've ever opened it, it should just open it into a new session that's just ready to go. And this would actually look very similar to how it looks in RStudio on your desktop. It's just it wouldn't be running from a browser tab. Otherwise, it should look pretty similar. I'm just going to demonstrate a couple things that are unique to the server. A server will have a session. Well, they all have sessions, but it runs in a browser tab. So if you want to look at what sessions you have running, you can click the little home icon and you'll see what sessions are running. If you have a bunch of sessions running, you want to actually quit out of them. You don't want to just leave sessions running all the time. You want to quit sessions and you want to log out. Otherwise, if you have lots of sessions running all the time, you can really run into problems. I've had students who left the same session open, active in a browser tab the entire semester, and it caused problems for them. It like locked up and had problems. It also causes problems for the server in general. There's a limited amount of memory that runs. So if you're not actively using the Smith server, you should quit out of your session and log out of the server. So I'm going to go ahead and go back into this session that is idle. And this session doesn't really have a name or anything right now. We'll talk about projects and things later in the semester. But for now, you just want to start a new session. And you will have 3 or 4 different like panes open depending on what you have open. I'm just going to open a script file just to show you what it looks like when it has 4 things open. So I call each of these areas a pane, and then like P-A-N-E, not P-A-I-N. So it's a pane, like a window pane, and some of them have multiple tabs in them, right? So the tab that we're going to be using the most to get started is the console tab, and you don't need anything open here. I'm actually going to close this. So your console will either be in the lower left-hand corner or just taking up the whole left-hand side, and it's fine for it to take up the whole left-hand side for now. And the console will have a little greater than symbol, as you see here, that says it's ready to go to receive an R code command to do something. So right now it's ready to go. And what we need to do is install a bunch of packages before the first day of synchronous class sessions. So I'm going to go back to our technology page here, and you'll see there is a link that says install update required packages. I'm going to go ahead and click on that to open that tab. This opens a GitHub repository of mine for the package that I made, R for Bio, and it should open right to the install and update packages section of that page. And these are all the packages that you need to install in order to do what we're going to be doing on the first day of the synchronous class session. What I'm going to have you do is actually install these 5 packages down to dev tools first. So let's go ahead and copy those. I'm just going to copy all of that together. You can right click and select copy. You can do Control C on a Windows machine, Command C on a Mac, or whatever the shortcut is for copying. And then we're just going to paste that into the console. So this has 5 lines of code. We're pasting in all at once, and then I'm just going to type enter. It'll do one at a time, and you'll see it kind of runs through a bunch of messages that you can basically ignore. So it installed tidyverse. Now it's installing a package called ggb-swarm. You can see tidyverse showed up here under our user library because it was something that we just installed. Now it's working on ggb-swarm. That one's been installed. Now it's working on here, which also has been installed, which also had to install something else. Sometimes packages require other packages to work, so they will often automatically install their dependencies, as they're called. So now we've installed the package DevTools. So DevTools helps us install things that are not on GitHub. That is like a little bit of a different process to install them. So I'm going to go back here and I'm going to do these GitHub ones one at a time. It seems like they get kind of stuck otherwise. So I'm going to do this first. You can see that it uses DevTools here, a function from DevTools, and it's going to install from GitHub this package called HTML tools. So I'm going to take that line and I'm going to paste that into my browser, press enter. Okay, so that seemed to have worked, I think. Let me just refresh over here. Well, we'll let that think. Now, Grade This is still in development, but it is necessary to do the interactive tutorials that we're going to be doing, and it has a lot of dependent packages that are going to need updating. And so this takes a while. It'll take like 10 or 15 minutes for everything to install from this. Yeah, HTML tools is now showing up. So I am going to get this started, and then I'm going to pause the video so that I don't have to watch all these things getting installed, but I'm going to show you the beginning of the process. So here's the line of code to install the Grade This, and I'm going to press enter. And then it's going to tell me, most likely, that all these packages are things that are actually installed on the overall system for everyone that's using the server, but these are older versions and we need the ones that are already installed are older versions and we need the more updated version. So, like for Tibble, we need, instead of 3.03, we need 3.06. So we need to update all of these packages. So we're going to select one to update all of these packages. So I'm going to type in a 1 down here in the console and then press enter. And then it's going to go through updating all of these packages. And that takes quite a long time. It'll probably take it 10 or 15 minutes to update all of those packages. It takes a while. So I will cut this part out of the video so you don't have to sit here watching me wait for these to install for 10 or 15 minutes. Okay, that took a while. Maybe it was faster on your computer, but it took about 15 minutes on mine. So now you can see that it says done, grade this. So I'm going to refresh the package listing over here. And now I can see, look at all these packages that got installed by trying to install grade this. There's a lot of things that grade this depends on, and grade this did make it in there. So good, we got that done. Now we'll go back here and get the last package, which is the one that I made, called R Bio. And that should be pretty quick to download and install. There are a few things that you will need to update as well, but not as many as grade this. Okay, so you can see that it says done R Bio. So let's update, refresh our package listing, make sure it made it on there. R Bio. So it made it on there, everything's on there. So it's always good to check when you install a package to make sure it actually installed. If it's installed, it'll be under this packages window, but it's not loaded if it has no check mark next to it. Like if I wanted to load the R Bio project, I would type in library R Bio and watch what happens over here when I press enter over here. Nothing. Nothing happened. I refresh. I think things are just being slow. But now you can see after I refreshed that it is now checked. So that means that this package is now loaded and ready to use. So this is the package we will be using in the first synchronous class session. So as you can see, all of this prep work just to get to this point takes a while. It takes probably 15 to 20 minutes to get all of that done. Just for installing the packages, let alone installing R RStudio. So you want to make sure that all of that is ready to go before class, so we don't have to spend a lot of synchronous class time waiting for people to get all set up. The rest we'll do in class, but if you want to try out any of the tutorials, you certainly can if you want to, but we will be doing the basics tutorial during class. So you can copy and paste this line of code into the console, or you can go straight to the tutorials pane over here. And if you scroll down, you'll see that nothing is there. Let me restart my session. Just did restart R. Sometimes you just need to restart things before. So I went to session and then restart R to restart things. And now when I look under tutorials, I see that it has all of those, all the tutorials that I made that all start with Intro to R for Biology in big text. And you can see R for Bio is the package under here. So you can also start tutorials straight from the tutorials pane. So those are two ways to get started, but we will be doing that part during class. So just make sure you're ready to go so that we can do the basics tutorial together during class, so that the RStudio is ready and the packages are downloaded and installed. When you're done working in RStudio on the server, you always want to make sure to not just leave it open, right? That's bad for the whole system. It's bad for your session because sometimes it causes problems. is to quit the session by clicking on this little power button up in the corner. It'll take you back here to where the sessions are, and then you're just going to click sign out, and that will get you fully out and close the browser window and only have that open when you're actively using R. Don't just leave it running all the time. I look forward to seeing you in class, and let me know if you have any problems.